Okay, so we all know about magnets, right? Well, magnets represent the law of attraction. And the law of attraction, in the grand scheme of things, it's just manifestation, right? Embodying and being the energy that you want, that you desire. And by being that energy of what you desire, you already are what you're trying to achieve, and that opportunity, that specific opportunity, situation, or memory that you want to create, it naturally comes to you because you're already operating in that state where things like that just happen. And so, because we're all magnets, we have this polar energy operating within us and also just throughout the world and universe as well. We'll call it negative and good energy. They are both needed. They are both equally as important. How would we have world peace without war first? If we started with world peace, would we have not maybe gotten bored and then slowly went into war? Let's little think about that. It's a hard one to sometimes wrap your head around because we don't want to say war is good. Obviously, we don't like the killing of people and the fighting and everything, but at the same time, it's just freaking human nature. Is it not? We are animals at the end of the day. Animals do fight for territory and resources. But the difference between humans and wild animals now is because we've become so far removed from the fact that we are animals and how we used to live in harmony with the earth instead of like parasites to the earth, we have created a society and a reality for ourselves where our nervous system is constantly being threatened. It's constantly having to shift through things. Think about cities with busy streets. Think about driving through that or walking through it. Loud noises. All those looking around. Feeling the judgments of other people. Animals didn't evolve to a way where they could judge people, right? And whether or not that's ever said, we can feel that energy if we're open to it. If we're not dulled out. If we're what society calls highly sensitive. And highly sensitive people get looked down upon because they make it seem as if it's a problem. Sometimes they are reacting because they become so volatile to all of these energies that they're sensing that they're trying to react in real time with it as how it's coming into them. And we act like that volatility is a bad thing. But what if that volatility is a good thing? Because highly sensitive people, at least they're freaking aware, right? At least they're aware to what's going on. Perhaps their reaction isn't right, but that is part of the process, and that's part of the journey. It's learning to harness what we could call negative energy within, volatile, more reactive energy. It's learning to work with that and learning to work with our light and our dark at the same time. For if you cage the dark, perhaps one day it'll escape and you'll have no control over it. And if you don't have the dark caged and you don't have it harnessed, then it's just running free anyway. But if you're working in unison and in partnership with your light and your dark, maybe your dark actually feeds your light. Maybe your dark gives your light the most inspiration to get to work every freaking day to shine as bright as it can. Because you're integrating the lessons of your dark And you're not just pushing them to the sides. You're walking with your shadows hand in hand. You're sitting with them, and you're sitting by the fire, and you're talking about the connections of life, taking them down to the root. You're not dismissing them. Your dark is as important as your light because it gives you your contrast. And your contrast is where the true awe of life happens. Think about a painting or a piece of art or nature, anything you've seen in the world. When your gaze gets locked into it, it's because there's contrast within this thing that you're viewing. You're getting pulled into seeing the weave of the shadows and the light and the dances that they're doing in real time. When you don't have control of your dark, you're fighting life more. You're more insecure. Everything feels like a threat. But when you have your light, and when you know how to dance with your dark, you operate from this place that is undeniable, swift, but slow. A place of knowing. A place of balance, because you're utilizing both energies. You're not causing harm, but you know exactly how to cause harm, and isn't that even more powerful in its own way? That brings me back to how do we have the world peace without the war? How do we be that full Zen without ever experiencing those moments of where we hope to find this Zen? And maybe sometimes, you know what? Maybe sometimes we're not even supposed to be Zen. Maybe we do need to be loud and fierce and let our dark just completely shine sometimes. Because maybe we're dancing with other dark in the world where we need to protect our light. Maybe that's when our dark can come and play. So the world is full of contrast. Don't shy from it. Embrace it. Find yours. Play with yours. Find the contrast of the world. Find the awe of that. And be inspired to create a deeper contrast for the people around you to be lost in, mesmerized within, and lost in because they become in a state of awe. They're okay to just be. Because when you're lost in a piece of art, when your gaze is locked, you're present. You're looking at it. You're looking at the details. You are present with the magnificence of life in front of your eyes. And that's the beauty of the light and dark. I hope that you get something from this today. If you did, I'd love to know what it was. And I would love to invite you to my workshop on March 16th at 4 p.m. PST time. It is called The Palette of Love, and we are exploring how a liberated love and operating from that creates such a space within where it's freedom, it's trust, it's safety. And we learn to identify our shades of love and how we perceive the spectrum of love. Whether it's platonic or romantic, it doesn't matter. Because you can experience the same shades within any type of love. Love is love, right? And we learn to step back and see our masterpiece of life with brushstrokes of love. Each brushstroke and the shade represents the energy that we felt related to love. And when we can step back and see that, we can see the contrast of our own journey around love. Because so often we say that we don't want love, we're scared of love, we have these wounds of operating around love. But it's not love that we're afraid of. We're not afraid of a liberated love. That's what we seek. That's what we want. We don't want to be judged. And operating from a place of liberated love, judgments might still go through our mind because we have that dark energy within us. But we're not operating from that place. We're able to see those judgments, but to actually be able to feel what the truth is and to utilize those judgments we might have cross our minds in a situation, and how to use those judgments to actually get to the root cause of what we're feeling and what it is that we're trying to name, and what those judgments reflect for us, what they actually mean to us. That's why liberated love feels like safety. Liberated love is also an unconditional love, but neither a liberated love or an unconditional love means simply loving. It also means saying the things you need to because you love yourself so much and you love the other person so much and you're not hiding from the truth. So I hope you'll come to the workshop. Truly. So that you can learn how to paint your life with love consciously, the greatest love that you desire, to be fully in love with life and yourself. For when you are fully in love with life and yourself, you are operating from a place of joy, because that's the natural byproduct of a liberated love. And when you're operating from joy, you are organically in a state of awe. And when you've got those three energies together, they put you in such a powerful place to create anything that your heart desires, because you are operating like the creator within, like the creator that somehow created this magical floating rock in space. Because isn't the fact that we're just humans on this floating rock in space that's turning around with a sun and a moon and all these other planets, isn't that, like, in itself pretty crazy? Like, you don't have to be woo-woo. Like, science in itself, it's magical. This life is magical. So let's find your damn magic and live your life to the fullest.